What is going on, Amazon sellers? Welcome back to the weekly Q&A show where we share some e-commerce news, some stats, the occasional business maxim, and of course, we answer your questions about selling on Amazon. So if you've got a question about retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, or perhaps you've just got a Keepa quandary, we'll drop it in the chat and we'll be happy to help. Now, for those of you who are new here, my name is Chris Grant, and to my right is my simulacral co-host, Chris Rasick. And we've also got Zach Altmeyer, the Dean of Discontinued Goods, with us. Guys, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Had to do the official dig the car out. So it looks like school's back on. Yeah, it's funny how Monday, Tuesday, I couldn't believe they had the nerve to call off school. And then I had to dig my car out today, and I couldn't believe they had the nerve to actually go to school tomorrow. So, yeah. So, got I didn't have a heart attack or anything like that, which is probably my biggest worry, moving that much snow. But, yeah, I am officially mobile again, so feeling good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, everyone was talking about the snow in OAC Plus and exploding trees and ice and all that stuff. And I was a jerk. I'll admit it. I took a picture of the backyard. It was sunny. It was 72. The sun was shining, and karma smacked me upside the head, real hard. Like, it's supposed to be. It could get into the teens in Central Florida over the weekend at nighttime. And then karma decided to send a jury summons my way. And I've got jury duty. So I deserve it. I will pay my penance, and I will not make the mistake of bragging about the weather again.
You got the front of the hand and the back of the hand, just to make sure.
Exactly. Well, guys, thanks for being here tonight. We'll talk discontinued goods. We've got some news to share with you guys, and if you have questions, drop them in the chat. We're here to help you guys with your business. And Luke, yes, I will shove that warm pool right up my basement. I appreciate that. So let's go over a little bit of news while people hop in. The first thing is there's another Amazon sale coming. It seems like we just had the October sale. It's not very far in the rearview mirror, but Amazon announced today to sellers, at least. I haven't seen it hit like any news outlets or anything. But Amazon's got a big spring sale coming. And it's very likely going to be kicking off in late March based on last year's sale. Last year in 2025, it happened from March 25th to March 31. And Amazon specifically, in their announcement to sellers, said it's a great chance to dump your aging inventory. So I don't know if they're looking at what they're holding on to. Too many people are holding on to dead weight, but it is coming up. And if you want to be prepared, well, now's the time. So you're going to have an opportunity to clear some dead weight as they push some extra traffic. And of course, people are going to be looking for deals. But there are also, that's also a good time to lean into some seasonal categories. Right as March rolls around, there's going to be some home organization that's happening for spring cleaning. There's going to be beds to be mulched. There's going to be sod to be laid, grass seed to be thrown, lawns to be thatched. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity in those kind of categories if you want to look that direction. Of course, people will also be buying some things for spring. Maybe they're going to spend a little bit more time by the pool, or they're going to pick up a hiking hobby this year. Those are all things that the people will be adding to their wardrobe. So they haven't told us exactly what the dates are, but they will be happening again. So it's all but well, yeah, only thing we're waiting on is the date.
Yeah, it's about time they threw a sale. My goodness. That's it remains a good opportunity for sourcing still in my opinion. There's plenty of clearance stuff. Some of the clearance stuff, Macy's it just rolled out a buy one get one free on their clearance toys. I saw that today. So you've got big box stores that are looking to liquidate, and they're getting more aggressive as we approach February now somehow. And obviously it goes almost without saying, Amazon runs a sale like this. It's always good to keep an eye out to see who's going to try to match prices as far as the other big box retailers. That becomes a major sourcing opportunity too.
Absolutely. And Dylan, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, will absolutely be a good time for A2A opportunities if you're interested in that. Both, looking at Amazon and seeing what sales that they might be matching. Like Chris said, always, anytime Amazon runs a sale, it's good stuff for there. Zach, I'm kind of curious. Do you notice any sort of seasonality in products being discontinued, or is it like a complete crapshoot?
So that is a really good question. It's something that I'm trying to get a little bit better at. I love the old school type of flips and, basically the treasure hunt side of it. But there is a side of it too, like you said, where it can be seasonal. And this past October, November, there was a lotion. It was like a holiday limited edition lotion. And throughout the previous year, back in 2024, that lotion, like I started looking at the prices back in the spring. I was like, actually was doing pretty well. So I, kind of tested out this year with some of these holiday lotions. And right now, even in January, there's a very high demand for these holiday limited edition Christmas type lotions. And there's a certain scent. I mean, there were like, a bottle was $10 at Walmart. Again, this was like back in October, November. But if you look at them now, they're selling between $25, $30 a bottle. And people still want these limited edition things. So that's something I'm trying to get a little bit better at this year around, and trying to study a little bit more of those limited edition / seasonal items. And because everybody wants those popular things year round, they don't want to wait. So if they can still find them, they're willing to buy them.
It makes a ton of sense. I've got so Bath and Body Works came out with a room freshener, one of the plug-in ones, and they called it Black Friday. It said it smelled like a shopping mall with, like salted pretzels and cookies and all that stuff. And I picked one up because they were on sale and threw it in my office, and actually it smelled pretty good. But of course, now that I would like another one, it's gone. And no way to get it unless I want to pay one of these scalpers on Amazon through the nose. So, all right, let's. I see a couple questions here. Let's answer those, and then we'll get to a little more news for you guys. Hey, Rodrigo, when shipping hazmat products via FBM or merchant fulfilled, do I need to place any special labels or stickers on the box to indicate that it is hazmat? Sometimes, yes, and it depends on what kind of hazmat it is. So I would imagine that 90% or more of your hazmat stuff is going to be limited quantity, which is that little diamond sticker it's got like a black shaded area at the top and the bottom of the diamond. And I'm not even sure you have to put a this way up sticker on those boxes. Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't think so.
So you just need that little black diamond. And that'll typically do it for probably 90% of the stuff you're going to ship merchant fulfilled. If it's a lithium ion battery, you need to throw a lithium ion sticker on there. And then if it's I don't see Amazon sellers selling anything more hazardous than perfumes, hairsprays, and lithium ion batteries. You're probably not going to ship, hazardous chemicals or anything like that. So that's probably all you need to know. But make sure to do it right. So let's go a little bit deeper. One, you do want to make sure to do it right. If you ship something, say priority rather than ground, and you get caught, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a $10,000 fine per package. So you do want to make sure to do it right, and make sure that you've got your template set up correctly on Amazon, so that for any hazmat products you do sell, you don't offer priority shipping. Stacy, what is going on with Amazon closing the fresh outlets or the fresh stores? Are they shifting to fulfillment centers, filling that space? I was reading a little bit about that, and yeah, they're going to be shifting that toward the fulfillment centers, and they're also they plan to increase their Whole Foods footprint. So it's going to be those two things that kind of pick up the slack for any of those fresh stores, which I don't know if they were really very popular anyway. Amazon's also building like a super center in Chicago to test out. It's going to be something like 230,000 or 250,000 square feet. And it's basically going to be an Amazon version of a Walmart.
Yeah, I read that. They're also trying, aren't they trying again with the just walk out tech?
They're going
to on that.
They're going to offer that just walk out tech to other people, to like pop-up shops, okay, rather than do any kind of their own Amazon Fresh stores or anything. Best UK ungated to get for new sellers. I do not live. I live on the other side of the pond from you, so I'm not sure. I can't really answer that question. Over here, a lot of times we can use either distributors, or we can use. A lot of people get through with Target or brand invoices and receipts, and they get ungated that way. So I don't know if that's how it's working over in the UK right now. Could you use Can you use a Tesco purchase online to get ungated? I'm not sure. So I'm not sure I'd be a whole lot of help. Sorry, Perry or Peter or both. I'm not sure. All right. We've got a little bit more news. And of course, if you guys have questions, shoot them our way. We'd love to answer them for you. Online grocery sales exploded 32% in December. So they hit a record of 12.7 billion in December 2025. That's up 32% year over year, which is the highest monthly total ever recorded. And yeah, it was partially a holiday bump, but we've been saying this kind of same thing for several months now. We are shifting more and more online for grocery shopping. Order frequency also climbed for the 16th consecutive month. Average users placing 2.9 orders in December. Over half of them completed 3 or more orders. I'm in that group. The 30 to 44 age group led the charge with 3.2 average orders, up 17% from last year. It's becoming the default. Multi-channel shoppers are taking over. Users are mixing delivery, pickup, and ship-to-home methods. And, of course, single method shoppers are going down. Customers, obviously, they want flexibility and they want convenience more than anything. Amazon has a bit of an advantage here. Ship-to-home average order value jumped 14%. That's the biggest gain of any fulfillment method. And this, of course, is aided by Amazon's continuous rollout of their same-day fresh grocery service, which of course is not something that we can sell on as Amazon sellers. But what this will do is this will tie customers even closer to Amazon, where they're going to, if I'm going to go to get strawberries at Amazon Fresh, well, I might as well order that discontinued laundry detergent at the same time, Online now represents 19% of total weekly grocery spending. That's the highest since May of 2020, which we all know what happened then. The $200,000 and up income households, which is 16% of the United States, have nearly doubled their online grocery spending since December of 2023. And both mass retailers and supermarkets posted 8% spending gains. Now, of course, Brick Meets Click says that there are some structural shifts in shopping behavior, which are driving a lot of this growth. And they think this will actually create some stiffer headwinds in 2026, especially for like regional grocery stores that may not be able to compete with online shopping. So there might be some opportunities for more clearance at some of these mom and pop grocery stores. Also might be closing down those stores because they can't compete if they continue to see foot traffic dwindle. So yeah, I didn't realize how much it was going to increase. Like 32% is a crazy number for this.
Yeah, it's a combination, I mean, like you said, it's not, you can say it's a holiday bump, but probably would have been a positive number regardless, even if there wasn't a major holiday in the month, because that's the overall trend, is that people are getting more comfortable with grocery. Personally, online, just having groceries delivered using Walmart Plus is at least 75% of how we obtain our groceries. Mm-hmm. It's just it's entirely too easy, especially with Walmart Plus. They log the stuff that I order over and over again. They'll pre-fill my shopping list for me. I can just kind of go in and say yep, nope, and I can place an order and be done with it in 10 minutes, and I'll gladly pay the tip to save the rest of that time not having to go to the store. So this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. This is, I mean, honestly, I won't step foot into a Walmart normally. It's just not my scene. I really don't care to go to Publix, where they get you for, I mean, it's almost like shopping at Whole Foods. But yeah, I mean, I get why it's going this direction. It makes so much sense. All right, let's see here. All right, Rodrigo. For sending hazmat shipments to Amazon, do I also need to use the same type of labels or stickers to indicate that the shipment is hazmat? Yeah. So one, you're going to end up having to buy shipping outside of Amazon. I think that's still the case. Yeah, it is still the case. You have to buy shipping outside of Amazon, number one. And yes, you will need to use the same stickers to indicate it's hazmat if you're shipping into FBA.
Yeah, because the purpose of the hazmat notifications on the box is for the shipper's benefit. They need to know that it has to go ground only. So yeah, it makes sense that regardless of whether you're sending it to the customer or sending it to Amazon, the people who are handling those packages and shipping them, getting them to the destination that you need it to go, those are the ones that need that information.
Yeah. Coconut dental floss. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. If that's a real thing. I'm probably getting rickrolled or something. Look, we've been trying to use our Walmart Plus a lot, but they keep So I will say this. I prefer to do Walmart Plus on a Sunday and have it delivered on a Monday so that they use the actual employees. Because I noticed that if I do same day, there's often a whole lot more substitutions. which is where the mistakes get made. But you're right. It is nice that I don't have to wear my outside pajamas to deal with it. I can wear my inside pajamas.
I think Luke just has trust issues. You know, he doesn't, he tries to get AI to understand stuff, which is, you know, this generation's version of calling it the Facebook or you know, whatever that would equate to. You know, he can't trust AI. He can't trust, you know, third-party delivery services. You know, I feel like he's, you know, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself kind of guy. I think he's got a lot of that stuff. I could feel his kids rolling their eyes at some of his sayings.
I think you want to use the word curmudgeonly, don't you?
That was in the mix. That was as I was plucking words, that was in there.
Yeah. All right, let's answer a couple more questions, and then I've got some questions for Zach before we get to a law that I put together tonight. Have you come across a situation where a brand on your account is red restricted in the U.S. marketplace, but in Canada, Mexico, you're ungated or can apply to ungate? Possible to ship FBA if restricted U.S. I haven't ever looked that deep. I don't really sell in Canada or Mexico. I've had some things happen where it didn't sit well with me, and so I've turned them off. Now, you know, our friend Steve French says you might as well do it. I just haven't yet. It's another one of those things I don't want to manage. But if it's possible to apply to get ungated in another marketplace, I doubt you're going to be able to ship it into US FBA to have them use the NARF program. I think it's still called that, the North America Regional Fulfillment Program. I have my doubts that would be okay. And I also have my doubts as to whether or not that ungating lasts in the other marketplace if it's not also in the US marketplace.
Yeah, there's feels like there's more disconnect than there is continuity between the marketplaces from my experience. I shut it all down. I started getting violations from the Canadian market because apparently you need a prescription for just about everything over there. You know, we have very aggressive over-the-counter policies here compared to neighbors up north.
Yeah, it's very strange, you know, and like things like Q-tips are not to be sold in Mexico, but like you can go to Tijuana and like buy human growth hormone over the counter, you know. So I don't get it. All right, Rodrigo, I watched your video about Boxum for ungating, and I've started running some tests, but I have one question. Does Boxum only separate ASINs that are already ungated, or is there an option for Boxum to help ungate ASINs that are still blocked? So what that feature does, and if you guys haven't seen it, it's the latest video up. That's not a live video. But Boxum came out with this feature where you upload a list of ASINs, or paste a list of ASINs, whatever it is. And it will go through, and up to 5 per second can be checked in your account. And it will do a couple of things. It'll either tell you that you are ungated already, or if it is possible to auto ungate, it will try to do that for you on your behalf. And if it gets approved, then it will show in the approved section. If it is gated and it requires, an invoice or a receipt of 10 or 100 or how many ever Amazon requires, it'll tell you which ones are gated, and then it'll also tell you which ones are restricted that you cannot get ungated for at this time. Or it's just, you know, for some people, Nike is red restricted. You cannot get ungated at all. For me, Nike and Jordan are both able to be ungated it It would put Nike and Jordan in one column. It would put in the ungate column, or needs ungated. It would put, I don't know, Lego in the ungated column. And then it would throw, say, Under Armour in the restricted column for me. And then I can go do what I want with it. I can take the ASINs I'm ungated in, go source them. If there's a brand that I do need to get ungated for, I could go handle that. And then the restricted ones I can just throw out to the side. But is there a way for them to help you get ungated? No. Boxum's not going to help you get ungated, but in my opinion right now, ungating it's simple, but not easy. And what I mean by that is the process is fairly straightforward. It's either a distributor. There are many retail stores that work to this day to get ungated with. And so you just grab what you need. You can even use Amazon. You give them what they're looking for, and then you have to be willing to resubmit it 72 times. That's kind of the process, making little tweaks and changes here and there. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. There's a pharmacy in the Cabo airport. People fly in and right back out after getting meds. That's interesting.
Kind of a shame to spend such a little time in Cabo, though.
Right. All right. So before we go on to the next thing, sorry. Yeah, Deal Hunter. The thing in 3P Mercury, I believe, is different. I think it's doing it one at a time. With Boxum, I put in like 2,500 ASINs the other day, and Boxum also doesn't cost like $129 a month or anything. If someone's not going to use the rest of that software. Zach, what are you seeing in the streets, man?
A lot of good stuff. It's RA's been fun, man. It's we were talking about the snow earlier, and I really wanted to go on Sunday, and I had the itch. I had the RA itch, and the snow was actually a good thing because it forced me to get a little bit organized, work on a shipment, get things kind of situated, get a head start on taxes. So overall, the snow was a good thing, but man, the RA gives you the itch, makes me want to keep going.
Right. Are you one of those people that get your taxes filed in April rather than October?
Say it again. Get it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
I know so many business owners, and they're just like, yeah, April, that's not a real date. We'll get it filed in October.
Oh yeah, no, I'm usually like ahead of it by probably mid-February at the latest, early March. I'll be done.
Wow, they do exist.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's good. Is there? Yes, look, Chad knows what we're. I didn't know there were people filed in April. Yeah, I knew it wasn't just us. I thought we were wrong. Is this time of year, if someone, let's say someone wants to get into the discontinued game a little bit, or just add it to their sourcing, is there any places that you would tell them to start looking? That maybe they're not thinking about?
I would say there was a couple layers to that answer. But you could easily start if you have something simple as a local grocery store by you. And what I mean by that, it's not like one of the big retailers. We're not talking like Walmart, Target, but this is like a local chain, something that's only kind of, again, local to your area. And just start looking around at what that store has and what it doesn't. And start by taking a look at the price tags, see what's on clearance there. Sometimes local stores will mark their stuff discontinued. Maybe they'll have a discontinued section, and you can start right then and there, and then start branching off from that, right? So if you go to a local store, you find something that's discontinued. Maybe it's just from that store, but maybe it's from the brand, maybe it's from the manufacturer. Then you can go back to Amazon or look at other retailers. Maybe do they have this in stock? And what I personally like to do is when I hit up these type of stores, I will go out, kind of see what's discontinued, and then kind of come back and do my research of trying to find out, is this truly discontinued? Is it not just the store, but is it the brand or the manufacturer? And if it is, start taking a look at Keepa. How does this item perform when Amazon's out of stock long term? Is it out of stock right now, or are they in stock? Is this something I want to buy from Amazon? Kind of an A to A flip, a buy and hold A to A flip. Or if they're out of stock, where else can I find this? If it's at a local chain, then there's a really good chance it's going to be at another chain. So you can kind of put together those pieces on finding discontinued products. If you're an eBay seller and you love the old school flips, the old mom and pop hardware stores, the pharmacies, again, even those old grocery stores, some of my favorite spots. Like, I get weirdly excited when I go on a road trip, or I'm going on a hiking trip, and then I happen to pass an old gas station or an old hardware store. And some of these stores just have hidden gems that a lot of people just miss. And you can find a whole lot of items that you can buy at a very low buy cost. There are certain spray paints, there are certain paints, wood stains, all of these type of items that I just picked up. It was a wood stain. It was about $20, and I just had somebody on eBay buy that for $100 because that stain, that color's discontinued, and they still want it. And there's a whole type of these products that are out there at these type of old stores that people are still looking for and they want, and they're willing to pay for. So you got those type of options. And then you have, let's say, like bargain outlets, things like that, where things are being newly discontinued, I could say, and they kind of want to liquidate inventory. These big brands, they got new stuff coming in, right? They just want to get rid of the old and they want to start with the new. So this old inventory is getting out to different bargain outlets and things like that, even just getting clearanced. And those are great opportunities too to find newly discontinued products and buy more in bulk.
Now, Zach, follow up to that, because I think we've talked about it before, how it's kind of a shift, and you got to kind of take a beat and introduce a little bit of patience where normally a lot of people are it's kind of a go situation, or looking to flip it. Do you have any tips, like for somebody who's going into the outlet store? Because I think, well, I'll just speak for myself. I know when I walk into an outlet store, I think that the advantage is my buy cost is going to be lower immediately because it's in this discount outlet. But that doesn't change my attitude towards velocity and wanting to turn it. So what would you say to me to help identify the items that I might get caught up in thinking that I got to flip it real quick? Like, is there anything that I can do to kind of identify what might be a little bit more money with some patience?
One, I would say if it's at a specific outlet or wherever it may be, but if it's something that has, let's say it's been discontinued and there's kind of that gap where it's not at the major retailers, but it's also hasn't hit those bargain outlets yet. If you go to Keepa, take a look at the price before it hit that bargain outlet. I've had multiple items where there's something that I'm actually going after that I can't find at the major retailers, hasn't hit that bargain outlet yet. And it's gold, right? It's selling for 2-3 times whatever it is. And it hits the bargain outlet, and we all know, like, Everybody else knows about the bargain outlets. A lot of people start selling that product and the price ends up going down. But what I like to do is use that as a gauge. And whatever that price was before it hit the bargain outlet, if I know that product is discontinued, that at some point it's going to get back to that price. And throughout the years I've been kind of doing this, it definitely varies and it's nuanced depending on the product and if there are different types of the product or various things like that. But if I wait 6 months, there's a really good chance it's going to come back to that original price where I can sell at 2 to 3 times whatever I bought it for, rather than trying to fight everyone else trying to sell that product all at the same time. Because it is, when it does, there's a good amount of that product, and a lot of people are able to sell it very quickly. And you can still turn and burn. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You're getting that cash flow, you're getting it back, and you can invest in something else. For me, it works a little bit better in my sense, where I can turn and burn some products, but it also gives me the opportunity to put some aside for things that I think are going to do really well. And I can just kind of set aside, forget about it, and then 5-6 months later send that in, when usually these bargain outlets are the very last place you're going to find these items. So it's also a confidence builder in a way too, where if I know I can hold out 5-6 months, then I don't really have to battle everybody else. I'm kind of sitting alone because I've been able to hold it out a little bit longer than everybody else. So it's more of a, I think for me, once you kind of do it a couple times, you get to like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like, I get to sell it at higher, and I'm not, fighting the tank, because you are one of the last outlets who have that product. So you kind of have that advantage that way.
Nice.
All right. Now, if you guys have questions, please let us know. We're happy to chat about those. But Chris, well, Zach, you're in there too. But there's been a lot of conversation in OAC Plus about ClaudeBot, which is now MoltBot. And of course, if you spend any time on Twitter, you know that ClaudeBot and MoltBot have been all over the place. Everyone says, AGI is here. And of course, there are a couple folks who have been like, yeah, I could see some use cases, but it's not quite there yet. And so just as I was doing some reading, I came across Amar's Law. So let's talk about Amar's Law a little bit. And before anyone calls me an AI doomer, it's not the case. I am bullish on AI long term. Okay. I know that someone's going to say, look at this unk or something like that, but it's not the case. All right. But Roy Amara kind of nailed this fundamental truth about technology, in the fact that we tend to overestimate the effect of a technology in the short run and underestimate the effect in the long run. So this hype cycle kind of gets it backwards. And that's what we see right now. We see this major, major hype cycle. Every time something new comes out, this is the thing that changes everything. And like I said, you see this on Twitter, but that initial excitement tends to inflate everyone's expectations. And then everyone gets a little burnt out. And in 2 years from now, we're all going to have robots folding our laundry or something like that. So if we bring this back to the Amazon space a little bit, you might remember when A+ content and sponsored products got launched. Now, this was years ago. This was 2010s, when a lot of people that are probably here weren't even selling on Amazon. And a lot of sellers, they rushed in and they expected, I'll use this, I'll dominate overnight. And then what they found out is that there were really only gradual adoption curves. And then eventually some saturation, and then algorithm tweaks that kind of killed those early wins that they took advantage of. And this pattern seems to repeat with every game-changing tool that's out there. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay. The short-term ROI tends to disappoint a little bit. Money gets wasted a bit, and then people end up bailing on it. Okay. E-commerce itself sort of proves Amara's law. After the dot-com bust, online retail was sort of dismissed as this cute little niche. Go ahead and go sell your cute little books on the internet, is what a lot of people said to Jeff Bezos. Well, now, in the middle of the 2020s, it's reshaped global supply chains. We just talked about how it's completely reshaping consumer behavior just in one vertical, the grocery vertical. And it's forced tons of traditional retailers to either adapt or die. I'm looking at you, Saks. And today, there are and some underwhelming tech like, blockchain supply chains and things like that. And, AI predictive analytics. They're clunky right now, but it is possible that eventually they enable hyper personalization when it comes to shopping, when it comes to fulfillment, or even like decentralized marketplaces. Now, I say all of this because I think you need to know that the OA and RA are not dead on arrival today. However, you should also keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening. Like, you should test new tech at small scales to see if there is something that you can use to create a better return on your time. I'll give you one of the biggest wins for me is Whisperflow. It seems like just this silly piece of AI, but if I don't want to, I basically don't have to type ever again, and it gets it 95% right. And there are going to be more and more things. You should integrate AI every day a little bit. You should also plan for some compounding growth. Like, make sure that you're putting your data in place right now so that you can use that for training any models that you have locally or that you use AI for as things get better. And then kind of balance the hype against like some timeless fundamentals. Even though AI is going to play a larger and larger role in our lives, and any technology really is going to play larger and larger roles, like doing a layup is never going to not be doing a layup. You're always going to need to know how to block and tackle. So don't forget those while you go and learn everything else. But I thought this one was kind of spot on when it came to a lot of the conversations that are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. There's I've read that in self-help books too. They say, we tend to overestimate what we can get done in a day, but underestimate what we can do over the course of a year. So that makes a lot of sense. And there's the disservice that's going on out there is, unfortunately, we have to deal with, and it could be tough to differentiate between people who are simply bullish on the advancements that are going on and simply just a good ambassador for the technology and what it can do for us. But mixed in there are people doing sales hype, and they want, so they need to, they need to create an offer. They need to create a sense of FOMO. You're missing out. If you're not doing this, you're going to be left behind. And there have been, 7,000 advancements in the last couple of years that if you don't get on top of right now, you're going to be left behind. And I don't know if I'm left behind or not, but I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not against it. I'm trying this stuff out. I pay for certain things. I use AI, but the use cases have to kind of unfold and make sense, and I know there are a lot of people who are just like super, super aggressive, and I got to kind of like pause and figure out if they're simply selling me something or if they're actually using this technology or, whatever that they've just added. But you mentioned Whisper Flow. And the great thing about Whisper Flow is that it's so good recognizing our natural speech patterns. Like I am amazed. I can stumble, I can start a sentence, kind of fumble, stutter a little bit, and then start the sentence over again. And most of the time, Whisper Flow will figure out what I meant, and it'll delete that part that I stopped, and it'll actually type exactly what I meant. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes Whisper Flow so good, is that it's so much better. Speech to text has been out there for a very long time. It was about 10 years ago. My CPA and I, we had a blog that we tried to run together. And he was telling me, he goes, you should get Dragon. You remember Dragon?
Dragon.
Yeah. That was his big, his big hack. Like, oh, just get Dragon and we could pump out blog articles and, so it's been out there, but what makes Whisper Flow so great is how much better it is, and how, I don't know, user friendly, but it's user compatible instead of user friendly, if that makes sense. There's a distinction in my mind, at least. Yeah. So it's very tough to sort through the hype, because certain people, a lot of the people talking about Claude Bot or Molt Bot, which who told them they needed to come up with a dumber name than Claude Bot? Yeah.
I mean, I know why they had to change the name, but I mean, come on, you guys couldn't have picked up anything else.
You guys could have taken a day and thought about it, but it's just tough to differentiate who is actually using it and who's simply just hyping it up, and they're going to come out with something that they're selling and or just engagement or whatever. It's not everyone's intentions are pure, I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Always seems to come back around to, you need to figure out where the signal and the noise are. Interesting. Another one of those things that the blocking and tackling never changes.
One thing too, very quickly, is you touched on was just taking the small steps. And I think that's very important too, because even for me, as a reminder for myself, is I start seeing all these different AI this, AI that. And like you said, you hear, if you don't learn it, you're going to fall behind. And if I get kind of caught up in that, I get very overwhelmed, and then I don't do anything at all. And then I just kind of avoid it. But like you talked about, Chris, is just taking small steps and, trying it out. Doesn't mean you have to go all in, but just, giving it a shot. What I've been trying to do is every day, at least, maybe learning something new about AI, maybe something new that has come out, or playing around with a new tool or whatever it may be. It doesn't mean I'm going all in, but it's something where I'm just, seeing where it can help my business. If it could, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I feel like the more experience I get and just taking it, day by day and experimenting and trying things out, I think that goes a long way, rather than just, like, hey, you have to get on this, you have to go in on all this, because tomorrow there's going to be the new thing and you also have to go on all this. And it can be very overwhelming, because I feel that like I am going to fall behind with things. But if I can just take it day by day and learn a little bit new and take small steps, I think that'll make a huge difference. So it's just my experience.
Yeah.
It's not terribly different as far as in from a concept perspective of an Amazon seller deciding they want to hire a VA, right? And there's basically, primarily, you see two different camps when sellers say, I'm looking to hire a VA. They're the people that are doing it right, who are they've got a nice amount of sales, they've got an operation going, they're competent in their skills as an Amazon seller, and they know that if they can outsource part of their business to a VA, it's going to make them more efficient, right? And that's going to lead to growth, and they're going to be a better seller overall. But then you see a second camp of sellers that think hiring a VA is going to bust them through some level that they can't achieve on their own. and the people hire VAs for the wrong reason. Like I'm just not good at sourcing. I'll just get a VA to do it. That's the wrong approach, because guess what? Guess who's training the VA? You are, and if you're not competent in sourcing, you're not going to train a competent VA. You're not going to get what you're looking for. So that's kind of how I approach AI. It is the benefits of AI should essentially be in your own rear view mirror. You should have your processes in place. You should have a grasp on what you're doing, and then you introduce AI in whatever flavor that it happens to come across that you decide you want to try. And then it helps you. It either frees up your time or it makes you more money, makes you efficient in some way, but you're going to see the benefits in your rear view because you used it and you had a process in place, as opposed to, I need to do this because I'm going to go from $25,000 a month to $250,000 a month with MoltBot, like, not likely. You're going to have the bones to get to the 250,000 before you introduce MoltBot, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this was interesting. Chad saw a drop on Dragon on CD come up on Flip Alert. That's fantastic.
I'll tell my CPA. He'll be real excited.
Right. And Dylan, you're spot on here, man. Effectiveness before efficiency. What's that Seinfeld quote? The hard way is the right way, or something like that. But all right. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns before we wrap it up here? Unfortunately, I do not have a dad joke today. I just did not have time to pull one together.
There's a portion of our audience that is not disappointed with that.
Yeah, that is true. Well, listen, we'll wrap it up there for today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll be back on Sunday at 7 p.m. We'll do this all over again. Answer your questions, bring you a little news, and I am really going to do my best to try to bring more laws, rules, and razors to the show, because I think those make for some good conversation. Now, see, look at that. Shannon's disappointed. There's no dad joke. I will do better next time, I promise. All right. Thanks for hanging with us for this hour. We'll see you guys on Sunday at 7 p.m. And until then, hope you guys have a kick-ass rest of the week. Talk to you soon.